Hello everybody, J.Yumeko here, and today we're back with some more The Letter. Last time we left off, I believe we're playing as Miss McCullough, and we had discovered that there was a little bit more to the wine cellar in the Ermengarde mansion. And we had encountered again the ghost, but what I wasn't super clear on was whether the ghost that we encountered as her was the same one that's been haunting everybody else, or whether it's a completely separate ghost that's taking advantage of her past trauma with this girl that she liked basically having killed herself. So, I'm not so sure, but I do believe that we are starting to make our rounds now. I think we're playing as Ash currently. Oh no, we're playing as Rose, right? Or Rebecca, fuck. Yeah, we're playing as Rebecca. And then we still have Ash and Luke to play as. Do I do the voice? I will, why not? Even on a rush hour, getting everything in order before leaving takes nearly a good quarter hour. By the time I make it out of the classroom, the commotion has already died down, dwindling to mere echoes and distant laughters. From the nearby rooms, melodies from a rehearsing band drifts freely into the air, filling the almost empty hallway with their warm, lively tunes. Any other day I'll stop, bask in the music, and enjoy what little peace it brings. Not today, however. My steps are brisk and sure as I march to Edward Hall's exit. The sooner I can confirm Isabel is okay, the sooner I can shake off this niggling feeling. For one reason or another, that single call, of all possible things, has thrown everything off kilter. I'd rather this be over with as quickly as possible. So much that I nearly barreled over a student in my haste. Though perhaps it's the other way around. What the fuck? It's that little bitch again. When I look down, a set of eyes, bright and hopeful, stare back at me. Her arms are wrapped around my waist like a vise, and at my attention, a grin spreads across her face. Buenos tardes, Miss Pink. Hello, Kylie. You know you aren't supposed to run into people like that. Sorry, Miss Pink. She loosens her hold on me, but not a hint of guilt or regret appears on her. If anything, it seems the remark only amused her. A smile appears on my face before I can help it, matching the one on her own. Just remember not to do it again, alright? You could get hurt. You sound like my mama when she's scolding Rowan, Miss Pink. I'm sure your mama only means well. I know she'll be worried sick if one of you were to get hurt. Where's your brother anyway? Aren't you two supposed to be heading home now? Rowan says he's got some stuff to do before we go. I think he's taking too long. But he promised to buy me jelly babies today if I keep what he's doing a secret for Mama and Papa. Any chance you'll tell Miss Pink about it? She shakes her head, both her hands going to her mouth as if to keep a precious secret from spilling out. I made a promise. He said it for Theo Luke. Oh? Something like a gift? Like a dare. Theo promised to take me somewhere cool when he's old enough. Rowan's gonna prove he's a grown-up. Laughter slips free from my lips. The teacher in me wants to give whoever this Theo is a reprimand for bringing about this kind of behaviour in children, but if both Suarez kids are so fond of him, there shouldn't be anything to worry about, yes? At any rate, there's nothing but well-behaved. They are nothing but helpful. Both Kylie and her brother. I gotta say, for being some kind of like fucking Latino or whatever, Hispanic, they sure as hell don't look like it. Although I guess I do know some pretty pale Latinos myself, so. Rowan, the eldest, may have an occasional odd streak in and out of class, but their parents taught them well. I see no reason to cast any suspicion of bad behaviour on them. As long as it isn't anything dangerous, alright? It's not! Cross my heart! My drawings are a lot prettier than what he's doing anyway. Theo said so. Do you want to see? I drew one earlier at class. Is that why you're here? No, really. I was gonna show it to my friend first, but since it's you, I'm sure she wouldn't mind if you see it before she does. Oh no, I can't stay right now, Miss Kylie. Miss Kylie. Her face falls immediately after the words are out. A small part of me feels responsible for that crestfallen look, but as much as I want to stay a little longer, there's another place I need to be at right now. and frankly, another child to look after. Taking both of her hands, I kneel in front of her and muster the most rueful smile I can give. At her age, I'm quite sure she already understands what I'm about to say before they're even out. But, remarkably, she doesn't look away or pout as I'm expecting her to. I'm sorry. You know what? Rowan has a class with me on Monday around this time. Why don't you drop by again next week, after class? I'll even make sure to wait for you. It's just that I absolutely must leave now. My friend had an accident earlier and I'm the only one she has here. What about her mama and papa? Her family lives really far from here, I'm afraid. Do you remember where Asia is? The southeast part? That's where they are. Her eyes immediately light up at my question. Just like that, I know I've earned the girl's forgiveness. Oh, just like Takako! Who? My friend! She said she used to live there, only just a little higher than southeast. But she hasn't come home in a long time, so she doesn't really remember much about it anymore. Meredith said it's weird I talked to her, but I think she's just shy. They could be good friends too, don't you think so, Miss Pink? Maybe if you introduce them properly, they will be. That's what I think. Takako's just lonely. If she makes more friends, she won't be anymore. Is your friend like that too? Alright, hold up. Quick theory. Takako is the ghost. I'm calling it right now, baby. Takako is the ghost. And that ghost ends up, maybe possessing this little girl or something. Because I think it was as, what's the black dude's name? Zach. I think it was as Zachary that we ran into her, and then she gave us that creepy little smile. So I think that Takako is the ghost. A little, possibly. To be honest, sometimes I can't really tell with her. After all, Isabella's always been the kind to hold a smile, even when things have taken a turn for the worse. 5 years and one will think it's enough time to know a person. But when you consider it, come to think of it, all these years, I've never, not even once, seen her cry. Not over a trivial matter or even when things are tough. Okay, you can go to her. I'll show you my drawing next time. Thank you. Remind me to buy you a huge glass of parfait, alright? No, I'll get a stomachache. Takako says so. A small one is okay. I'll remember that. Say hi to your friend for me. I will. I'm sure she'll love to meet you too. See you, Miss Pink. I'll see you later, Kylie.
London Bridge is falling down, falling down,
That is loud.
falling down.
She doesn't look back or wait for any sort of goodbye from me.
My fair lady.
With a song and an extra spring in her step, she bounds across the corridor as much spirit only a child her age can give. As if the conversation has never taken any downhill turn for her at all. As if there isn't a single thing to worry about in the world. Not long after, she disappears behind a door, leaving behind strains of an old familiar rhyming lingering in the air. Carefree. Unbidden. Untroubled moments like this, I envy her. And as I resume my hurried pace, a tiny whisper at the back of my mind wishes the same could be said for myself and my own worries. Luxembourg may be a small city, but it's no stranger to hellish rush hour traffic. But, surprisingly, getting out of the city today proves to be more of a breeze than a hassle. A relief considering how none of my calls to Isabella have made it through. Either the reception's really bad over there, or she's ignoring them on purpose. Both does nothing to ease the disquiet in me. The rest of my drive passes without much incident as soon as I'm out the busy streets. In less than 30 minutes, the mansion looms ahead of me. For all the fuss Isabella made about the house, and it remains a thing of beauty. Unlike Luxburn, the estate and the nearby Anselm village stand as its complete opposite, living and breathing the songs of the old, whispers of a once booming haven lingering in the air. Contemporary conveniences aside, it's a place I'm glad modernization hasn't wholly touched. It's just a shame that the locals know more of the city hearsay than the history itself. If I could only knock some sense into these people. Sadly, complaining is all I can afford to do. As much as I want to give them a piece of my mind, it isn't why I'm here. I don't think these rich types will appreciate getting a lecture from me either. I have as much business with them as they have with me. With a heavy sigh, I give myself one last second to take in the scenery before heading up the main entrance. Most of the guests are already heading out. Though some still linger, it's mainly just to take photos of the house's facade or its various rooms. I pause for a moment, scanning the small crowd gathered at the foyer, looking for any sign of that familiar ponytail among the sea of hats and heads. No sign of her. No sign of the other staff or Miss Cooper either. I can certainly look for Isabella on my own, but in a place this big, I'd be lucky if I didn't end up lost or find her before we need to meet with Zachary and Ash tonight. Sighing, I reach for my mobile and redial her number. The gesture, familiar now after so many attempts earlier. If she doesn't answer, I can still try contacting Miss Cooper. I just hope the network reception will cooperate this time. This side of the country's never been popular with tech savvy after all. To my relief, it only took 3 unsuccessful tries. At the 4th ring, right as it's about to switch to another intercept message, the line finally rings. Silence follows while I wait for her to pick up, the ringing going far too long for my tastes. By now, most of the visitors have already cleared out. All I have for company are the faint murmurs of an eerie calmness left in their wake. A sudden hush settles and gives way to noises louder than they're ever meant to be. Doors creaking and slamming shut in some distant part of the mansion. Floorboards groaning under the sheer weight of the house's history. In the now empty hall, they all reverberate with special clarity against the walls. Like this, those old stories seem to almost have a ring of truth to it. I don't get to stray far into that ugly line of thought, however. Not a second later, a click sounds on the other end. Hello? Oh, isn't it? Hello? Isabella, Miss Cooper called earlier and... Isabella? Belle! Oh, you're right! Without any warning, the call gets cut off. Busy notes blaze sharply against the heavy silence. But above the noise cutting through the mute air, remains the faint cries of a woman, far beyond the foyer. My hand falls to my side as I cast a wary look around, waiting for someone to come running. Surely I can't be the only one hearing this. There must be still some staff hanging around, checking things out. But no one does. Not even when her sobs turn more frantic and anguished. Excuse me, hello? Who's there? Isabella? Isabella, is that you? No answer. Growing anxious, I amble over where her cries come from, each step slow and cautious, towards the door on the other end of the room. While I'm far from someone who readily gives in to fear or stories lacking factual basis, the vague, restless feeling I have earlier immediately returns to me. And despite myself, my heart begins to race and my breathing quickens. Belle! Belle, it's me. Miss Cooper called. Is everything okay? Abruptly, all of it stops. My whole body tenses, mouth dragging in a ragged breath, ears straining for any other sound yet to come from the other side. But nothing follows. Instead, the quiet only lends itself to the heavy tension in the air, as if every small movement will disturb the fragile stillness hanging in the room. I wait for another second. Then, with caution, I reach for a knob. My fingers barely graze the brass handle when a hand falls on my shoulder. Excuse me. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to startle you. No, It's... Still reeling, my gaze shifts back to the door, as if any second now the cries will start again, or whoever's inside will burst out of the room. But I don't get to dwell on these. The woman's worried voice breaks the haze in my mind again, oddly soothing in the thick of my unease. Even if the concerned look comes from a total stranger, finally being in the company of someone else is somehow comforting. Ma'am, are you okay? Oh, no, I'm fine. This is probably just some cold. Do you need to sit down? No need. I'm actually looking for a friend. I wave the mobile in front of her, like the gesture alone explains everything. Vaguely, I notice a tight grip on it, and quickly slip it into my pocket before she notices. She doesn't need to know. Well, I'm not sure if your friend would still be here. We're actually about to close the house in a few minutes, ma'am. No worries, she's not a guest here. She works for Briar Realty. Miss Cooper called me earlier. In fact, I'm also looking for her. Recognition flashes in her eyes, and her worried expression dissolves into a smile at once. It's all I need to know that I don't have to look elsewhere or venture deeper into the mansion on my own. In some way, I'm not too keen on the latter right now. Oh, Miss Rebecca Gales, is it? Yes, I'm sorry if I'm a bit late. It's not a problem. I was busy with the open house and a few clients anyway. It's actually a good thing that you came when you did. Let's see. Isabella should be here somewhere. I told her to stay put earlier. I can't have listened. Rosie! May I have a minute? There's just this one little thing before we go. Miss Cooper's head immediately snaps up at the voice. In a blink, a different kind of smile spreads on her face. A smile still, friendly even, but the kind given mainly for the sake of pleasing other people rather than making friends. Yes, ma'am, I'll be there in a few. It's an impressive thing, to say the least. That level of professionalism. I suppose working in this kind of business trains you enough to be able to pull that off without batting an eye. It certainly didn't seem to have rubbed off on Isabella, though. Sorry, could you give me a second? I have to take care of this. Don't worry about it. I understand. I can wait a few more minutes. Clients, right? You won't hear anything from me. Priorities, you know. But if you want, you can stay at the parlour in the meantime. I think we have a few refreshments left. No, thank you. I'm going to go out with a few friends after this. Isabella's supposed to join us too, but that depends on how she's doing, of course. Alright, this won't take too long, I promise. She throws me an apologetic look before sauntering over the small group gathered at the entrance. A couple, or siblings, and another woman, probably the secretary. Either way, they look no different from the other guests. All three of them primly dressed, albeit in a manner significantly simpler than the others. No frills, no extravagance of any form. But their gestures and movements alone speak volumes at their ingrained lifestyle. In their presence, I do what I can to appear inconspicuous on my side of the foyer. Maybe accepting Miss Cooper's offer would have been a much better choice than standing around awkwardly and gaping at them. All while also attempting my best not to listen in on their conversation. Although that one proves more difficult with how enthusiastic the blonde woman is. Her voice easily echoes through the walls with only the five of us here. Pretty soon I find myself being drawn into their talk without meaning to. Tomorrow, first thing in the morning. First thing in the morning, ma'am. The mundane talk isn't what catches my attention, however. Very well, we'll have our lawyers prepare everything as soon as possible. Let's make this whole thing easier for everyone, shall we? Just let me know if there's anything you need from me. You know how to contact me, yes? Got your mobile saved right here and ready. Good. It's just a matter of time, then. It's a brief moment. A fleeting shift of my eye. Monday for us, Marianne? As long as you're positive we won't have any problems by that time, you can count on my team. You worry too much. Let me handle those things. Don't be thrilled, though. I imagine it's not every day you get projects like this, And the instant I turn my gaze on him, I see it. Oh, I'm certain Mint's ecstatic, Buttercup. Aren't you, Marianne? You know, we could all celebrate these with a few drinks. Why don't we? In fact, there's this really excellent Irish pub I visited a few days ago. Looming, hovering over his shoulders, drawn to him like a moth to a flame. A dark blur. No, a shadow. I think I'll pass on that, sir. I have more important matters to attend to. Darling, your liver. You already had a glass today, and apparently a few days ago as well. How many times we have to remind you? Doctor's orders, remember? Such a shame. You never let me do anything fun. But as I try to make sense of it, a heavy feeling descends over my whole body. It happens without warning, forcing me to close my eyes. The sensation creeps to every part of me, crawling under my skin and draining me little by little of any strength. Before I know it, my hand is gripping the nearby door for support. The sudden nausea drowns out their voices when little sound there is. All except for the whispers and laughters. Judging. Mocking. Taunting. Muffled, inaudible words bearing down on me like a death sentence. They wrap around my neck and limbs, binds tightening with every syllable. every utterance. And with each draw of breath I take, they drag me down slowly, almost painfully into a bottomless abyss. On, and on, and on, till the sounds turn into near distant echoes, until suddenly it chatters. Well, what are we waiting for? Are we done here? His voice rips through the fog like a sharp blade and my eyes snap open. When I look at them again, it's gone. Just a second, darling. Send my regards to Isabel, please. Poor girl, please let her know that she doesn't have to worry, and, please let her know that she doesn't have to worry, and tell her to get some rest. Anyway, we're looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Likewise, ma'am. No shadows or dark clouds. Only amicable smiles and cordial handshakes, the usual pleasantries, as Miss Cooper leads him out of the mansion like a grateful host. None of the group seems to have noticed it, and even as I force my breathing to calm down, keeping my eyes strained on their backs and waiting for something to happen, it doesn't come back. She turns a moment later. Gently, she closes the great doors behind her, but there's a smile on her lips and an extra skip in her step when she walks back to me. Whatever she was discussing with the group had put her in a good mood. Even she appears to have not observed anything odd. Was I just seeing things? Phew! Glad that was over. It's been a long day. I thought for sure we're going to... Hey, are you sure you're doing okay? You look a bit green. It's all good. I'm actually still recovering from a cold. Weather's been crazy lately. That must be it. The weather, the stupid cold, and the friendly warnings I'm too stubborn to listen to. As much as I hate to admit, Isabella's right. I was and still am a little feverish when she visited me at school this morning. The medicine helped, of course, but only some. Although it's not like I can't function, it did get better after lunch, and I was able to go through my schedule like usual. Now I'm not so sure. However, I can't keep acting like I've seen some sort of apparition when it's anything, but I simply must have listened too many times to Isabella last week. My fever-muddled mind has started to confuse things. If this doesn't let up, I'll just need to visit my doctor tomorrow, plain and simple. Though I do hope it won't get worse. We did promise to watch Zachary's film together. I know what you mean. I've been complaining to Isabella. It doesn't seem to have affected her much, though. Must be because she grew up within tropics. Anyway, shall we? She's probably hanging out with the rest of the catering staff. No, I wouldn't be surprised if she's there. She eats like 10 hungry men when she isn't feeling well. Lead the way. With a small nod, she gestures for me to follow. I do so without much thought, finally putting everything in the back of my mind. The entire visit took a whole 24 minutes, and my trip to the mansion, as it turns out, is a useless endeavour in itself. Isabella is no longer there, left shortly before I arrived. Or at least that's what the few staff who saw her assumed. None of them knew where she went, but I can take a few guesses. There are only a number of places in Luxburn she frequents, and, well, she's never been the complex kind. It doesn't really take a genius to figure it out. Still, it's odd that she left on her own. She could have at least waited for Miss Cooper. It would have saved her having to pay the cab's fare twice today. And right after she was told to stay put. I mean, who does that? Oh, sod off! You don't own the road! In the end, all Miss Cooper could give me was a string of apologies for my trouble and a request to let her know when I found Isabella. The whole affair didn't even last long. I probably spent more time travelling back and forth. Soon enough, I'm weaving my way back to downtown Luxburn, worried sick, and on top of that, maybe a little annoyed. Whether at the unexpected turn of events, or at Isabella herself, I'd rather not think about it for now. Not when I'm already running late for Zachary's film. Besides, I'm perfectly sure that's where I'll find her. As one would expect, people are already gathered at the movie house when I get to it. The mall venue where it's located has been closed off early from any passing traffic to make way for the avid moviegoers who are sure to crowd the venue. I have to park almost a street away and walk the remaining distance because of it. Looking for them has taken a while in a crowd this big, but I eventually spot them near the entrance. thanks to Zachary mostly. And like I've surmised, Isabella's with them. I knew it. Wasting no time, I marched over to the little group. Words filled with concern tumbled out of my mouth before I can stop myself. Isabella, oh thank goodness! Becca, you're just in time. An odd expression crosses her face as I hold it with both hands, but I ignore it in favour of getting a good look at her, forcing her to keep still and fix her gaze on me. Becca, you're squishing my face. How are you? Are you alright? Why wouldn't I be? There doesn't seem to be any visible injury, nor does she appear to be in pain. Apart from her confused frown at my question, she looks pretty much like how she would any other day. Even so, you can't really tell things with her at first glance. The last time she got sick, she never bothered to call anyone, even me, who lives right next door. If I hadn't checked on her then, she probably would have died on her bed with the rest of us none the wiser. It's one thing we laugh about now, but moments like those also teaches you something about a person. If anything, it's given me more reason to constantly worry about her. And the moment a familiar name comes up, I know my concerns right now aren't completely baseless. Rose called me earlier. Her expression swiftly changes, and gently as she can, Isabella pushes my hands away. Yet even before she says anything, I already have a hunch of how this whole thing will play out. Oh no, everything's good. Rose covered for me earlier at work today. That's not what I'm talking about. How's your head? Then and there, the whole conversation goes down as I've imagined. She dodges my hand when I reach for the back of her head, intending to check the said injury myself, even makes a show of hiding behind Zachary just to avoid me. Instantly, what's supposed to be a simple inquiry dissolves into a shameless game of tag. Shouting and chasing, like none of us can be bothered to act like the full-grown adults that we're supposed to be. Including Ashton. I won't put it past Isabella, but Ash, out of everyone. In fact, if that stupid smirk on his face tells me anything, he finds this whole mess amusing. Oh, for the love of... Isabella, this isn't a laughing matter. She did look pale when I saw her earlier. Wow, thanks a lot, Ashton, you traitor. I'll get you back for this, just we wait. What? I'm just saying it as it is. If you mentioned this earlier, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. There's a moment's pause. My hand's still mid-air as my attention shifts to Ashton and the words he leaves hanging between the four of us. He doesn't meet my eye. I don't think he's even aware of what he said. But the meaning of each syllable alone is clear. And they echo. They sting. They burn. I'm sorry, saw her? Yeah, they arrived together. Bella looked fine to me then. I don't know. Of course. Of course! Why else would Isabella leave on her own after being told to stay put after that little chat about money this morning? Something close to silence falls while I mull over their words, both what's already been said and what's been left unspoken. When I do find my voice, it only reeks with nothing but bitter, unpleasant thoughts. Thoughts I quickly stamp out before they surface. Thoughts I hide the best I can in the deepest parts of my mind, locking it away for no one to see. Oh, that's good. At least you didn't have to travel alone, right? At least. Good. Yet try as I might, the green-eyed monster easily rears its ugly head, like it always does every time his gaze lingers a second longer. Every time he smiles in a manner far too gentle, far too sincere, whenever he thinks no one can see. Every time my mind suggests his words mean more than they should. Every small little thing. Despite what he says, despite his tone. Look, you guys. For all I know, it might just be the same kind of fondness born from friendship. Maybe I'm simply overthinking things like he often tells me. Maybe there really is something there. But in his short display of impatience, I know the whole of it is just for show. After all, growing up together with him didn't teach me anything about him. For whose sake is it for this time, though? For him? For Zachary? For her? Or for me? That I can't tell. If she says she's okay, then there's nothing we can do about it. It's not like we can stop her either. Besides, she's still acting like the same old Isabella to me. If she can still run around like that. Why are you taking her side? I'm not. But if she wants to watch Zach's movie with us, I'm not going to stop her. She's probably the one looking forward to it the most. Ash, you of all people should know. Tell you what, if I notice anything's amiss with her, I'll take her to the nearest hospital myself. Is that good enough for you? My mouth opens and snaps shut almost as quickly, forming a thin, hard line instead. I can't respond. Not because there's nothing to say. On the contrary, there's plenty. So many things I can use to reason and get him to agree. But because he speaks with so much certainty, with much reassurance, it feels like there isn't even a choice. All I can give is a long, deep breath and a reluctant nod in the face of it. Before I can get a grip of myself and my own weakness, the mood immediately shifts and I'm being tackled into a hug. Thanks, Becca. It's always been you with him, isn't it? Did you say something? Me? Nothing. Don't mind me. A lie, obviously. What else can it be? Each and every smile, a tiny effort to keep things the way they are. Or so I tell myself. Little do I know this is merely a preamble. It starts out quietly and without fanfare, amidst friendly jibes and harmless teasing, with a scrap of paper fluttering harmlessly to the ground. One that looks suspiciously like a cheap Halloween prank no matter how much you look at it. And yet, despite how ludicrous it all is, Isabella stubbornly insists, as if her whole life depends on acknowledging the truth in her story. Does she even realize how absurd she sounds right now? Crivens, even my students wouldn't fall for this. Isabella, aren't you taking this a bit too far? She doesn't give me the time to regret nor think over my choice of words. From there it escalates, goes into an argument too petty even for our standards as adults. Before we even know it, one after another, harsh, scathing words are being spoken. It's not a joke! Will you guys listen to me first? I saw something in that house earlier. It stood right in front of me. If I hadn't gotten away, that thing might have... Right. And in broad daylight, Isabella, even someone gullible would find the logic in that screwed up. There's also no way in hell that this supernatural shit is true. But it's real! What do you think I saw? Hallucination? A delusion? Didn't you say you fell down some stairs? So maybe Rebecca's right. It happened after, when I was trying to get away. I almost got stuck in the same room with that thing. We're all in danger. I thought you were my friends. Why don't you believe me? But someone has to be patient in all this. And however much my own has already been afraid earlier, there's no one else. Who else can there be to deal with someone selfishly acting like a kid? Like every other time, it has to be me. We are, and you know that. But this thing and that thing has got nothing to do with the other. When Rose called earlier, I thought she was just exaggerating. But based on what I'm seeing right now, maybe it's better if we really postpone this for now. Don't bother! Just like that, she cuts us off. Slams the door right on our faces while my own temper flares before I can stop it. Although it falters briefly at the hard expression on her, when she snatches the blasted paper from Ashton, I hold on to it. Regardless of how upset she appears, soured expression and bald fists, throwing a tantrum is simply unacceptable. For a grown woman at that. Words form at the tip of my tongue, ready. But before I can open my mouth and let it all out, her feelings and mistakes be damned, Zachary raises a voice of his own. Guys! A warning underneath the warm and hopeful beat in his voice. We all stop and look at him, and even my own anger subdues a little at his tone. Why don't we all calm down first? I'm sure Isabella has her reasons too. No need to be hard on her. And hey, ain't this supposed to be a happy get-together? To an outsider it may sound like a desperate request, but Zachary's always been the one to keep a level head over petty squabbles. This time's no different. He knows what to say, and when he lets it fall, they only ring sharp and true. We haven't seen each other for months. I'd really love to know what all of you have been up to. I only ever get to talk to Bella over chat. Please. And as careful as he is with his own tone, it does make me feel ashamed. We're supposed to be here for him, to give what little support we can give. Yet here he is, trying to keep 3 stubborn people from outright hashing it out in public. Later we can and will talk about it, of course. There's a proper time and place for it, and at the moment my anger and whatever reprimands it carries no longer matter. Beside me, Ashton appears to have already caught on. The lines of his shoulders ease to something much more relaxed, his expression back to its usual nonchalance. Isabella, however. She sounds perfectly still, her hands clasping the straps of her bag like a lifeless, like a lifeline, eyes trained at some point near her shoes. There's no anger in her face, only an undeniable hurt. But she's never been good at hiding what she thinks. Always the open book, always the one to wear her heart out in the open. And when she looks up, her answer is also as simple. If we keep arguing here, we're going to miss the first few minutes. Her lips are curled into a smile, though lacking both its usual brightness and glee. It's a smile nonetheless. I've seen it countless of times. It's the very same one she would show when she knows she has no other choice, or simply when things get tough for her. But despite everything I already know about her, it still catches me off guard. In all honesty, I expected her to run, to balk at the first sign of losing this time. I wouldn't even be surprised. At 26, she is the youngest among the three of us, less experienced, less accustomed to dealing with trivial quarrels like this. Yet, here she is, holding herself and coping with it like how she would with matters concerning her family. Outside of that, to me, she's always been this childish, naive girl, and watching the opposite play out right now, somehow, I find it difficult to wrap my head around it. Alright, that's Isabella I know. Oh good, I thought for sure you were going to cry. Good! But I envy her. What was that for? Stop calling me a crybaby, I'm not one. Aw, don't cry. Stop it! I envy her spirit, her warmth, her cheer, the shine in her eyes when she looks out at the world. How everything simply seems to fall back to a pleasant, lively rhythm with her around. How easily and tightly she fits into our lives, even without bonds only long years could forge, like a lost piece of a puzzle, despite her jagged edges. How she draws people to her with ease. How Ashton, of all people, can be drawn to her. Okay, scaredy cat then. That too! If you repeat that, I swear I'll... Let's just go. I make no effort keeping the bitterness from my tone. I let it seep, linger stiffly in the air as I avert my gaze from them. From their playful banter, their friendly teasing remarks, and Ashton's tender, affectionate smiles, all before the stabbing aches in my heart change into something too painful to bear. It's all in my head is what I often tell myself. Yet the way my heart rends at just the sight of them hurts. And like a coward, I walk away from it all, taking with me a small hope the movie will distract me from these thoughts. Because, like this, it's easy to find something to hate in her. Damn! Like, we already knew... Excuse me. But... that was really probably disgusting, I'm sorry. But we already knew from playing through Isabella that Rebecca was very jealous of Isabella and Ashton. And we already kind of know that Isabella and Ashton are basically a thing at this point. But it's kind of interesting to see that Rebecca's jealousy and potential hatred for Isabella is really running deep. Like, very deep. To the point where it's like, you know, her basically whole worldview of Isabella is like, oh, she's childish and she's inexperienced, and oh, you know, why does Ashton even look at her? Like, what's so special about her? You know, like that kind of deal. So it's kind of interesting just to see how deep this hatred goes for Isabella, or this jealousy. Dusk is already given way tonight when we leave the film fest. Unfortunately, there's nothing to improve my mood like I'm hoping. Rather, there's the muggy air that greets us upon stepping back into the noisy streets. Too busy. Too loud. Too many people taking up what little space the sidewalk offers. It forces anyone to bump shoulders with those they barely know, let alone care about. On a normal evening, I probably wouldn't have minded the crowds nor the humid weather. It's not like any of them are bothering anyone. And yet, even with what's admittedly a pleasant company, I can't bring myself to lighten up. See you guys another time. Yeah, see ya. Not even to return the smiles Ashton and Zachary gives us when we go our separate ways. Perhaps it started with Miss Cooper's call earlier, or earlier than that. Maybe even the moment I left bed this morning. Bloody hell, it could be because of that sordid letter for all I know. I couldn't care less at this point. All I want is to get a warm bath, sleep, and wait for this dreadful day to end. Now, if only Isabella would stop blabbing, then maybe this dull throbbing at the side of my head won't turn into a full-blown headache too. Zack did a pretty good job with this movie, didn't he? Even though Ash said he ran into some trouble late into filming. But I knew he had it in him. It's not like I didn't believe he could do it. I mean, did you see his face after the credits rolled? All those months he worked on this, and everything's finally... You weren't even watching. Only the first minutes. I watched the rest of it, I swear. Besides, Ashton was the one who wouldn't stop asking questions. Well, why do we still need to talk about this then? I liked it. Ash liked it. You liked it. Shouldn't you be telling that to Zachary in person? I'm sure he'd appreciate it better than I ever will. I know that, but maybe there's something you want to say? Zach had you check the script before you went through everything, didn't he? You also worked on it, even if it was only for a short time, so maybe you want to... I don't bother waiting for the rest. The moment I spot my car, I immediately make a quick beeline for it. Knowing her, this is merely another attempt to start in a conversation, just so we'll have something to fill the dead air, to replace the strained atmosphere we somehow walked into. One thing, the very thing I'm not too keen to do with at present. Behind me, Isabella also changes her pace to match mine, her soft strides growing brisk and uneven in order to catch up. A small part of me half expects she'll suddenly trip. She's not the clumsy sort, but there are definitely times when she can be the least coordinated person on the planet. Becca, hey! Oh no. Wait for me! And people wonder why I worry. They're not really completely unfounded once you've already grown familiar with her habits. Though right now, this is also at the very end of the list of things I want to think about. Sometimes it does become overbearing. Even her voice as she calls after me sounds nothing more than background noise to my ears now. Becca, slow down, will you? Your car's not going to leave without us. The sooner we get on the road, the earlier we can get home. It's Friday, in case you didn't notice. I know what day it is, but the traffic's not going to magically disappear even if we go there right now. I don't want to hear that from you. Didn't you used to complain how horrendous the traffic is back home for you? Yeah, but that doesn't have anything to do with this, Becca. Okay, what do you want to do then? Wait it out? Walk? I just want to go home, Isabella. If you want to stay out here longer, I won't stop you, but leave me out of it. I'm not up for any foolish excursions tonight. I wasn't thinking about an excursion. I want to go home too. It's already late. It's just that you've been in this prickly mood since earlier. Are you really okay? Was it the cold? Or did something happen at school? Do you want to talk about it? A long pause follows, and it holds everything she's been meaning to ask from the very start. I'm in no mood. But all the same, my hand stops short of unlocking my car, and my grip on the handle tightens. I can feel her eyes boring on me, waiting, hoping patiently for any answers I'll give. She's the same as Zachary. They're bad liars. But when you talk to people like them, if you're not careful, they often leave you with no other choice but to admit the truth, those exact same ones I can't voice. Despite my lack of response, she pushes on, surprisingly. This time her tone is quieter, more tentative than usual. Was it because of the letter? It's a well-meaning question, much like the rest of this talk, yet something in how she says it irks me. If it is, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to cause a scene. I did see something in the mansion, though. I wasn't lying about that. Wherever she wants to take this, I no longer want to hear a word of it. Not at this minute, preferably never. Especially when there are already a million other things buzzing and prodding around inside my head. Sometimes my patience can only be tried for so long. Oh, shit! Okay, hold up, okay? Wow, the animosity is insane! Holy shit! Like, I knew that fucking Rebecca was jealous, but wow! This is fucking crazy. I mean, this is just straight up hate right here. She's like, oh yeah, if only Isabella would just shut the fuck up. She's so goddamn annoying talking about this stupid shit. Like, oh my god, I don't want to hear it. Just leave me alone and stop talking. Like, oh, the way she said it fucking irks me. Damn! Okay, Rebecca is so fucking pissed off. Jeez Louise. Alright. So I know that in this game, you can take certain paths to ship different characters together. As far as I'm concerned, I'm wanting Isabella and Ashton to go together. I'm still kind of going back and forth on whether I want Hannah and Marianne to end up together or Hannah and Luke to end up together. And I mean, Zachary, I don't know what options he has. If maybe he has the option to end up with Hannah, or if he has the option to, I don't know, maybe fill into Rebecca's shoes or what. But Jesus Christ, man, Rebecca is a fucking spiteful bitch. Goddamn. So, okay. We see here that our relationship with Isabella is already hurt. I'm really tempted to just say, oh, this cold talk caught up with me. But at the same time, just kind of, I kind of want to go with her character right now and just say I'm not in the mood to talk. Because, I mean, that's just what, like, I'm curious to see what will happen to their friendship if we really just kind of push this, like, I'm jealous of you, I hate you kind of ordeal. So I think we're going to go with I'm not in the mood to talk. And after the open house, even if there were a lot of people around, there were weird things happening. I don't know if there was anyone else who noticed, but I heard things. I'm not sure if it was because I fell down the stairs. Even before that, in the attic, will you give this orderly a rest already? The effect is immediate. Abruptly, Isabella clamps her mouth shut. Hurt flickers across her face as she looks away, and her shoulders droop, all before the thought of holding back on my tone or how she'll take every word crosses my mind. When the realization does hit after, a twinge of guilt washes over me at once. But with all that has already been said and done, what am I supposed to tell her then? That I'm someone who can be so easily unsettled by my own assumptions? That this stupid sulk has been brought upon by some equally stupid jealousy? That the simple glimpse of her and my childhood friend together infuriates a part of me? Or that I've wished to be in her place or that I've wished I've been in her place during those times instead? Sure not. I owe her none of those. And if anything, she's the last person I want to know about it. Look here, I'm not in the mood for this kind of talk tonight. My head is aching and I'm tired. I don't want to hear about the dumb letter or the mansion or whatever it is that you saw in the bloody attic. Just get in the car and we're going home. Sorry, I won't mention it again. If you're so worried about it, why don't you just throw the blasted thing away? You make it sound so easy. Because it is. Here, hand it over and I'll do it for you. Might as well shred it up while we're at it. I hold out a hand to her, though the gestures without any expectation. She's nothing if not stubborn, and it isn't surprising when she turns the offer down with a swat of her hand. Rebecca, just leave it alone, okay? I get it, you don't want anything to do with it. Good, I hope that settles it. Yeah, just forget I mentioned anything today. Just forget I mentioned anything. I'll figure it out myself. That makes me stop again. This time I turn to look at her, searching her face for an explanation. But all she offers me is a sidelong glance and another one of those pained looks, before climbing on the passenger seat and closing the door behind her. Somehow, even with the steady din of traffic around us, the sound of that feels heavier, weighted with everything we've refused to utter tonight. This is what I want, isn't it? It certainly doesn't feel like it. Thankfully, if there's anything left to be spoken between us after, we won't have to discuss it on the way home. Or rather, we can't. Because no sooner than we hit the road, Isabella dozes off. Despite my foul mood, I still end up suppressing a laughter once the first sounds of her breathing filled the car. Mama? Not your mom, Isabella. Slow and steady, the quiet rhythm so completely unlike her, so far removed from every impression anyone has of her. A few faint whimpers will occasionally come from her, but otherwise it's just us, this silence, and it's so utterly unexpected. Still a welcome break, of course. Peace and quiet is one thing you rarely get with her around. Yet it's nowhere near comforting. It merely lends the air of this strange clarity, every little sound, every single movement more palpable. and with it comes the unease. A jolt of surprise hit me. It's almost comical if this were a different situation. In my haste, I accidentally dislodged my mobile from its seat on the dashboard when I swiped on the screen. Soon I'm scrambling blindly for it with my other hand while keeping a steady eye on the road ahead. A voice crackles from the loudspeakers before I can put it back. Although muffled heavily by the surface, I recognize the person on the other line from her chipper tone alone. Hello, Miss Cooper. Oh, you're still awake. Evening. I hope I didn't disturb you or anything. I know it's a bit late. Sorry about that. I just wanted to check on you and Isabella. That girl's still not answering her mobile. Were you able to meet up with her? Ah, yes, she's with me. We're on our way home. Hello? What was that again? I can't hear you properly. Sorry, let me just fix this dumb phone. Me. My hand stopped dead for a moment. I spared the device a brief glance, waiting. Seconds pass. Nothing happens though. Frankly, I'm not sure what I'm expecting, but the lines of my mouth forms into a frown regardless. Miss Cooper? Yes, still here. Did you say something? Just that I didn't get the last part. What were you saying again? No, I thought she... Never mind. It must be the signal acting up. Help me. Come again. What? Is everything alright over there? Certainly. Is something wrong? Why wouldn't... Okay, you seem to be busy. If this isn't a good time, I can just call you back some, other... Help me! I have to make a conscious effort not to panic right then and there, although my tight hold on the steering wheel tells a different story altogether. Miss Cooper? Rose? Hey, Rose, are you still there? Only a burst of static answers me, and...
Help me.
Maybe this lapse is entirely because of the exhaustion. It has been a long day, and I haven't fully recovered from last week's bout of flu, contrary to what I've been telling people. Though, perhaps had I paid closer attention to it, had I not been so occupied with other thoughts, I probably would have noticed it earlier. That it never came from my phone, but from somewhere right behind me.
Help me.
Time slows to a crawl. Looking up is a mistake. The first thing I see is its face, a ghastly shade, every inch battered, bruised and bloodied. Even in the darkness and the world passing by in blur of lights outside, I can still make out the wounds. Blood still oozes from it, little trails of crimson running down its face, glistening under what little light there is. But it is the gleam in its eyes that catches them all. The quiet plea, the anguish, and the desperation in them. More than its hideous features, and the awful stench of gore now soak in the air. And try as I might, I still can't bring myself to look away, even as its lips contort into a horrific smile. Even as a sharp, harsh noise pierces the air and the silence around us. Rebecca! Huh? Car, eyes on the road! Against everything I've been taught, and I've constantly reminded myself, I close my eyes. It's a brief moment. A short, vivid second of muscle memory and instinct completely taking over. If I didn't allow it, if my hands didn't move, or my feet didn't hit the brakes in that exact second, I might have... Isabella and I might have... No. I shake the notion away before I lose myself in it. Right now it's an ugly line of thought I refuse to venture into. Not when breathing is a struggle and every ounce of my strength has been totally drained from my body. Most definitely not while Isabella's panicked voice beside me still rings in my ears. We're alive. We're safe. That's all that matters. But it's not the phase that I look for when I open my eyes. All gone. I expected stains. Little telling marks and creases on the covers to show me where it sat not a second ago. But whoever, whatever it is, it left not a single trace. And though courage is a hard thing to gather at this point, I take what little of it remains in me and turn towards the back seat. Even then, there's none. Or was there really something there in the first place? With how empty it is, I'm beginning to doubt it. This stupid flu again. I need a long rest after this. My hands fall uselessly to my sides, numb from how taut my grip on the wheel has gone, still trembling from the unexpected rush of adrenaline. Against my ears, my heart still pounds an erratic rhythm, and my breathing hasn't slowed down. But the world has already righted itself without waiting for me, and little by little, second after second, as I sit here motionless, colour begins to seep back around me, along with it other sounds and a voice, no longer the indistinct ringing it was earlier. Rebecca? Becca, are you okay? Answer me, will you? You're scaring me. You know what? I think we should just call a taxi since... Can you keep it down? Strained, harsh, and completely unintentional. But with heat prickling at the back of my eyes and the mild throbbing at my temple, I could honestly do with a little silence for now. Keep it down? We almost crashed, Becca! I know what happened. It was a lapse, I'm sorry. A lapse? You call that a lapse? Becca, I really don't want to end up in a mangled mess on the side of the road, or a mangled mess anywhere. All I'm asking, if the time ever comes, which I hope isn't right now, is a peaceful death. Give that one to me at least. Not that I'm asking for it, but please. Isabella. Belle, you're overreacting. If you're so worried, why don't you drive? I don't have a license. I keep telling you to get one, don't I? For the past 5 years. Do you see why now? I wasn't really expecting to stay here this long. I thought it'd just be for a year or two. All of a sudden, a pensive mood comes over her. Isabella looks away then, but what's left of my little lecture never crosses the tip of my tongue. I don't allow it to, because in each of those words she let loose earlier is a small truth. Her stay has always been meant to be something fleeting. Earn some good money, go home, is what she'd tell herself during her first year here. Now, half a decade later, I'm not sure if she still believes that. Even I'm not sure if I still believe it. And if there's something in her reasons that has changed along the way, even if I already have a hunch, it's still one thing I'll never bother to ask. Those are hers to keep. I'll be careful this time. I promise. Just please, can we give this whole thing a rest for now? She nods, and that's the end of it. We spend the rest of the trip back to the solemn well in silence. Although all thoughts of an overactive imagination playing tricks on a fluid mind, and of smiles never meant to my eyes, abandoned, if only for a brief moment. Alrighty! We'll go ahead and pause it there. Oh yeah, so we've lost favor with Isabella even more now. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and save. And then go back to the main menu. Alrighty, folks. Well, interesting episode. I really think I'm really intrigued by Rebecca, more so than I thought I'd be, because the relationship with her and Isabella seems to be so fucking unstable. Because again, Isabella doesn't view Rebecca in that way at all. You know, to Isabella, Rebecca's always been, oh yeah, she's a really good friend, she takes care of me all the time, she's like a mother. But to Rebecca, it just seems like taking care of Isabella and just in general having Isabella around is just a complete nuisance to her. Like, I mean, maybe it's just she's having a bad day, but I mean, right off the bat, it's, oh, Isabella's a child, I have to take care of the child. Oh, she's so immature. Oh, I'm so jealous of her and Ashton. It hurts me. Oh, she's so annoying. Oh, yada, yada, yada. Why don't she drop it? She should act like an adult. You know, it's just this constant barrage of just, like, looking down on Isabella. And, I mean, shit, dude. It's wow. That, like, damn, dude. So, I think I'm going to keep playing Rebecca as kind of like getting pent up with Isabella, because I kind of want to see where that goes. Because I want to see Rebecca kind of release these emotions and kind of see what happens when we try and do that. But That's going to be it for this time. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like on the video, and tell me in the comment section below what you'd like to see me play next. If you enjoyed this video or any other videos or series on my channel, then I highly recommend that you hit the subscribe button and turn on post notifications so you'll be notified when one of those videos comes out. Anyways, that's it from me, and I'll see you in the next one.